Hello guys and welcome to our channel. This is Roll. In today's video we are talking about Bladesworn, which I guess probably maybe the best among the classes that came in this beta. For a start, as you see, the animation for holding this thing is still wrong. In the trailer it was holding on its own hand, which is completely wrong. I probably increase the distance, but this hand need to go up and this hand go up again a little bit. So it is still wrong. I hope they fix that later. And there's few bugs that we're going to talk about, especially with Dragon Trigger, and we're going to discuss everything about the class and what is its position, in my opinion. So it feels rewarding that you actually can play this. Like, it is different from Spellbreaker, it's different from Berserker, it offers something in its own. It feels like there is downside to it. It feels like a clunky Holosmith, like less rewarding, less strong Holosmith. Even so, the burst can be higher for perfect DPS rotation, which never really happens this easy. Maybe in PvE, but in competitive it is a little bit different, but you get stunned. So on burst skill, for example, so it is good, but like if you tell me this or Holosmith, I would tell you obviously Holosmith is better. And it feels a bit like it. Even the punishment for using the gun saber, which we're gonna get into it in a little bit. So let's talk about the pistol first. So the pistol itself feels rewarding and usable in competitive, but not much in PvE. It's a unique mechanic that you unload all your ammunition and ball backward, like your character move backward, and this move you forward and gain half of this ammunition again. 3, basically, this is 3 ammo all the time. And that can harmonize really well with a trait like this, shaving cooldown from every skill by 1 second every time you use the last ammunition. And guess what? The pistol every time you use the last ammunition. So it can be usable and effective maybe in combative, but in PvE, even so, the damage is okay, but it's not as strong and the damage is not as high as Axe of Hand, for example, and the quickness and the insane cleave. So I'm not really seeing it used in PvE this much, especially that there is no one hand, main hand range weapon, so you can't really at least get the value of both range weapons or something, so I'm not seeing this happening. Now for the gun saber itself, the auto attack and most of the skills run an explosion, which harmonize with the traits that work on explosion by gaining you more ferocity. So it is good. And the last attack here have explosion. This one do explosion and a good damage straight to your face, and the skill itself look nice, honestly. And this one is really good, especially in combative. It's like throwing axe. It run a projectile from far away to cripple your enemy and do a nice explosion with a good damage. This one higher damage in melee, less in range, and it block missiles, so it is decent. And this skill is a bit weird. It always moves you toward your target, no matter how you're facing, no matter how you're acting. It always goes to the same speed and it passes through the target, so it never stops at him. Unlike what you used to, like bolt charge skill, for example, which stab you at the target normally. It doesn't go past it unless it bugs. So it is a bit weird, but it can be utilized effectively. Like if you're running from someone and they're behind you, you'll always turn back when you use the skill, but you'll go past them, so you will not eat their damage. You just use that and you're behind them now and you can keep kiting easier. So you can utilize such thing or a mechanic as something to your advantage, I guess, but it is a bit different and you need to get used to it and to repositioning with it, that you will always cut the same distance. For the Dragon Trigger itself, don't think of Dragon Trigger as an actual kit, for example. It is basically a burst skill with options. And those two fancy skills are basically to, at least to make it easier for you or something, to move around, to get ages, and you also get protection if you got struck while in Dragon Trigger, and even if you CC'd, but it won't be matter because you will leave the Dragon Trigger and you will not hit your hit, but you will get your protection and you can even use ages and stuff like that. Those 3 hits, basically extremely buggy right now, but it is a beta, so it's to be expected. This hit make a projectile that just fly away. It fly above things with a slight difference in altitude between you. This one can go through things and a bit miss or get you like under the ground or above it. It can move you above object. It's really weird. And the same thing happened with skill 5 to the gun saber itself, by the way. And the first one also sometimes, but extremely rarely, fail. So those two skills are a bit reliable. This one doesn't hit a thing. the anime mode as people call it. Now for the skills themselves, this healing skill is amazing. It is probably one of the best healing skill in PvE in the game right now. If they keep it this way, it heals for insane amount of health and can be used twice. If you want the boons, you can get the boons. If you don't want the boons, you can keep healing insanely and just reset your health. You need to be a little bit effective in playing around it because of the 5-second delay before the second heal, but it is really strong. And not only that, if you use the second ammunition, like every ammunition skill, it will count towards the straight and shaving up cooldown. And if you use this skill, you get another last ammunition and you can use it again and it will shave up again. I'm already on about 8-second cooldown or 9-second once I'm already done healing. So it is really strong and work really well with it. I'll probably, if I run gun saber or Bladesworn, I'll probably always run this healing skill. Not only because how strong it is, because it works with the ammunition and it will help with my traits. The other skills, however, the elite is the most perfect one and it works really great with this one. And even if you're running something like for great justice to get the might and fury, you can also reset the ammunition with that one. Like you see how we spam our skills, and now we use that and we have our skills back again. Obviously the cooldown from the cast itself, but we have an ammunition, so it's a reset between using ammunitions, the 5 seconds, and that's why it is amazing. Now for the rest of the skills themselves, maybe this skill can see some use. Flow stabilizer, it will give you stability, which is nice, and it will give you faster flow, so you build up, and if you already had stability, you will build up for even more. And as you see, it keep building, so it is basically work like Berserker stance for normal warrior. How it can build adrenaline every second. But there is a lot of option in the arsenal of a warrior anyway, which what feel good about this class, that it give you a lot of options. You have the new skills, you can use them in your build. You have old skills, you even have different choices and traits themselves to run. Like you feel your choices actually make a difference. You're not forced in a specific play style, which what I felt in the Vindicator, and I didn't like that. This one is a block missile, so it will see a lot of play in world versus world probably, and it is on a 3 ammunition, so it's insane. I'm not sure, maybe they would nerf it, I'm not sure. The ability to reset ammunition every time you use the last ammunition, you already reset in cooldown, can be insane a bit, so we'll see. I'm not thinking this one would be used. Obviously in PvE there is no way it would be used. It's a cripple and immobilize field. It's a filler in the skills when a skill not really this effective. The stun break is great, like lightning reflexes. It take you back, do some damage and dodge, and it's on a 35-second cooldown, and the warrior have way better stun breaks. For competitive, something like a balance stance, and even for stability in world versus world or PvE, something like the signet. If you're running signet build, shake it off for condition, so you can use it. Maybe you won't, it's up to you. And the elite already explained how insane it is in PvE because of 30-second cooldown, and still strong in competitive for 60-second cooldown. So let's go to the traits also. You gain access to the pistol, you gain protection when hitted if you're inside dragon trigger, and you gain ferocity basically all the time because you're going to be using a lot of explosion. If you time your skills well, you can keep it almost all the time. And the traits themselves work, everything do something, like this one for the burst skill, and we're gonna go through them right now. The first one, increase your healing, which really fine because it built into this idea of a lot of healing, like using this skill and more ammunition, using something like shout. If you even running shout builds, like running this trait and even gaining might turn to healing, so you can keep being healing a lot of healing all the time, and it goes harmony with this one. 8% of your dragon trigger skill turn to healing, and it hit for a lot, so it can reset your health immediately. So it play into the same idea. It's basically the top line all go into that. Every time you heal, you gain more flow and healing increased. And this one, every final round of an ammo would give you barrier, so you can even build passively in defensive and even healing from that, so you can be really tanky for this class if you want. And the second one, you gain swiftness, and it increase your flow with swiftness, and using the final ammo cause burning and a little bit of damage around your targets, and gaining stun, ignore blind, and unblockable burst skills. So it is a bit focused on damage, I guess, this side. I mean, it is weird. This one could have been the one here because it's the one that do actual increase damage because of more hits. So those two feel a bit out of place, like they are mixed or something, so I'm not really sure. And the last one is the one that does extra damage when you swap weapon, and it does increase flow. So the first straight line, everything from like here healing, here swiftness, and here weapon swap, increasing your flow. And this one is everything about the last ammunition, with lowering cooldown, doing extra damage, or gaining barrier. And this one is about the burst skill. It either heal yourself or make it unstoppable hit, or make it lower cost but you keep entering as long as you have flow and keep hitting burst behind each other one after one, but lowering the damage because there is not much ammunition anyway, like those bullets above you. So final thought about it. It is not for me, for simple things. I like classes that can really focus on range, and I like condition, and I don't like that this class is forced to play power, which something I do not appreciate. I think Harbinger probably is still the best we've seen right now. It can be played for many styles that you want, and I love condition, so I'll take a class that play condition only anyway. But at least you have the option. With classes like this, you don't. You have to play power, and you're not really that effective in range. I guess rifle work really fine with it, so at least you have the ability to go range and melee, unlike Vindicator, which hammer sucks anyway. It is good if you want to play it, but it's not okay if you want to play condition. Berserker is still probably the best option to go for, and there is some downside, and I'm not sure if they meant for it to be punishing or not, which like Photon Forge Holosmith, like this kills here with a cooldown for weapon swap. So we attack this guy, and now we are in combat, and we use this skill, and now we are on weapon swap thing, and after we go for this, we use that, and the weapon swap reset it. So doing my burst skill reset the weapon swap cooldown. I cannot change weapons as long I'm waiting for that, which is only a burst skill for me, but I can't switch weapons, so I'm almost stuck in this, and I need to enter it again to access my burst skill because I cannot do that on the normal weapon. So you feel stuck with this weapon all the time. Switching weapon is not really good, and it was the biggest drawback in my opinion for this class. You feel completely stuck in this weapon setup, and it is a downside, obviously. I'm not sure if it meant for that to be punishing this hard, or they might change it. I mean, I hope they change it for all the warrior mains out there, probably. So I guess that's it for the video, and tell me if I missed anything, or if you have different thoughts in the comment. I will be really interested in reading all your opinion, and it's good information anyway. And I will be seeing you next time. Peace.